and welcome to this video. As the title of the video would have you believe, I wanted to talk about whether you should become an English teacher in Korea in 2025. If this is your first time ever seeing me, hi, my name is Georgia. I taught English here in Korea for almost 2 years. My first year teaching English in Korea was with the EPIK program, or the English program in Korea, and my second teaching job was with a Hagwon, or a private academy. There are a few topics that I want to discuss in this video to help you figure out whether or not English teaching in Korea is something that you would like to do for yourself in 2025. So the first topic that I want to talk about is what types of jobs you can get here in Korea. Needless to say, if you have a teaching certificate or a teaching qualification, then you have a lot more opportunities and a lot better positions that you can get. If you are a qualified teacher, then you can teach at an international school here in Korea, which is basically the same as a teaching job that you would be used to in your home country. You wouldn't just be teaching English as a second language, it would be more of an all-rounder teaching job. You could also potentially teach at a university here in Korea, of course, given that you are qualified to do so. So moving on from that, we have the most common teaching situation I think in Korea, which is people like me who didn't have a teaching qualification and were only qualified to teach English as a second language. If that is you, if you are only qualified to teach English as a foreign language, then you really only have two teaching opportunities available for you. The first one is, as I mentioned earlier, EPIK, the English program in Korea, and the second option you have is to work at a Hagwon or a private academy. There are pros and cons to both, of course. Spoiler alert, my personal recommendation would be to go with EPIK, especially if you are going to be a first-time teacher here in Korea. If you would like to know more details about why I personally would recommend EPIK over Hagwon, then you can check out my video that I will link up above on why I quit my teaching job here in Korea. But with that being said, let's get into the pros of working for EPIK. So pro number one is it is a relatively easy job with very little teaching hours. In my public school that I was placed at, I only taught 45-minute long lessons, and I would have about 2 or 3 lessons per day, and the rest of the time was just sitting at my desk at the school. Pro number two is that with EPIK you arrive with all of the other EPIK teachers and you all go to EPIK orientation, where you learn a lot about Korean culture, you learn a lot about what to expect, and obviously being in a place with all of the other EPIK teachers, you have an opportunity to make friends with people who are in the same position as you. The friends that I made during EPIK orientation were an absolute godsend during my entire time in Korea, honestly, so I would recommend it for that reason too. Another pro for working with EPIK is that you get better vacation days than if you work at Hagwon. When I worked for EPIK, I had 21 days in my contract. Also, besides these vacation days that you get with EPIK, you get all of the red days in Korea off too, so any Korean national holidays are also holidays that you get off. Now on to the cons of EPIK. I would say a big con of EPIK is that you have a lot of desk warming time. Desk warming basically is referring to the act of just having to sit at your desk, essentially just keeping your desk warm. Although, like I mentioned earlier, you may only have 2 or 3 classes a day, that doesn't mean that you can just leave school premises when you are finished. You still have to stay on the school premises. I had so much desk warming time that I actually planned my entire year's worth of lessons within the first month of being at the school. Honestly, Honestly, during the school hours, the school term, I did understand why I had to still be at the school premises and why I couldn't just leave. But this desk warming time actually extended into the school holidays. So when all of the other teachers at my school had summer break and winter break that they could just take at home, I had to still go into the school every single day and sit at my desk every single day, despite the fact that the students weren't even at school, they were on break, and all of the other teachers were also at home on break. Another pretty big con is that the pay for EPIK is still the exact same today in 2025 as it was when I did EPIK 6 years ago. I feel like that one really just speaks for itself. My final con for EPIK is that you don't have a guaranteed location. You put down your preferred location and then the program will either tell you that yes, you got the location that you wanted, or no, you didn't, you got placed somewhere else, and then you can choose whether you would like to continue and still head out to teach in Korea, or if you would just like to withdraw from the process entirely. I think that just about covers EPIK, so we'll move on to Hagwon. Pros of working at a Hagwon are that the pay is generally much higher than EPIK, and you get to choose your location as you apply directly to the school. And for the life of me, I can't think of any other pros to Hagwons, so I'll just leave that there. Cons. Obviously, I can only speak about my personal experience, and in my experience, working at a Hagwon was incredibly stressful, especially compared to working for EPIK. In my case, I had to teach for 8 hours every single day, and on top of that, I only had a 1 hour lunch break, which wasn't really a break because I had to spend that with the kids. Still, my lunch break was actually just time where I helped to feed the children, and that was about it really, so I didn't really have a break. On top of that, I also had playtime with the kids, I had reading lessons with the kids, I also had what's known as an open class where the parents of the students come in to watch or observe, which honestly was my worst nightmare. But the real icing on the cake for working at my Hagwon was that I was also, on top of all of that, only given 10 days vacation. 10 days in a year. And those were 5 days in winter and 5 days in summer, and they were also dictated by the school. When the school closed for summer and winter break, that's when my vacation was. So they're not even free vacation days that you can just use as you please. So overall, as you can imagine, I highly recommend EPIK, especially if you're coming as a first-time teacher to Korea. So if I haven't scared you off yet, then let's talk about why you should come and teach English in Korea. Coming to teach English in Korea was genuinely one of the best decisions I have ever made in my entire life. I grew so much as a person here in Korea in the few years that I have been here. Before coming to Korea, I had never even lived by myself before, so I had to learn how to be completely independent of my parents. I had always been the type who was very happy with just my own company. I was very happy to just be by myself. I am very much an introvert, and I was happy to just exist by myself. But usually that would involve just sitting at home chilling by myself. I never really used to go out by myself. Living in Korea was the first time where I really started to go out and do things by myself, like going to cafes by myself and going to cinemas by myself, just generally doing activities outside of the house by myself. I think a huge reason for that is that I always struggled a little bit with my self-confidence, and so even though I was happy with my own company, I would rarely leave the house. If I wasn't going out with other people, I didn't feel confident enough to just be outside by myself. I know that sounds really ridiculous considering that at this point I was like 23 years old. I just didn't feel confident going out and interacting with people on my own. And I feel like Korea really forced me to do those things. It really forced me to go out and interact with people on my own. And as a result of that, I would say that my confidence really grew being in Korea. My last point isn't really Korea specific, it's more of just a teaching English as a foreign language thing, but it allows you to really see if teaching is a potential long-term career choice for you. Obviously, teaching English as a foreign language, it puts you in that classroom setting and it gives you the foundation of what teaching is like. It is still teaching at the end of the day. Another point is that it's very good for saving money. I actually had a friend here who was teaching English in Korea in order to save up money to pay off debts back in their home country. As a teacher in Korea, whether you are with a Hagwon or with EPIK, your school pays for your apartment, therefore you are able to save a lot of money. So if saving money is something that you're interested in doing, then teaching English in Korea might be a good option for you. Worth mentioning though that this friend of mine did also already have an interest in living in Korea and also in teaching, so that's very important. Which segues nicely into why you shouldn't come and teach here in Korea. It's a pretty obvious one, but you shouldn't come and teach here in Korea if you are not passionate about teaching or at least interested in the idea of teaching. Coming to Korea as an English teacher is the easiest way to get a long-term visa, and obviously that's a reason why most people come and teach here. But honestly, it is really not worth it if you are not at least interested in the idea of teaching, because bear in mind that most of your time here as an English teacher will be spent teaching English. You will be in your school and in your classroom for most of your time here in Korea. So yeah, please don't come if you are not interested in teaching. Your students deserve better than that, and honestly, I think you deserve better than that than to sign yourself up for a job that you are going to absolutely hate. I did know a few people like this in Korea who came as English teachers simply because they wanted to live in Korea, and trust me, it is a miserable existence if that is you. So yeah, just don't do it, please. Kind of goes without saying, but if you're the type of person who doesn't want to try to at least respect the culture here in Korea, then you are going to have a very bad time, particularly in your work environment. If you don't respect the hierarchical system here in Korea, then you are not going to have a fun time, my friend. Your co-workers will hate you. They will. They might not tell you, but it won't be a nice environment for you and it won't be a nice environment for them. So yeah, if you're not willing to at least try to fit in with Korean culture, then please do not try to teach English here. If you're the type of person who doesn't like things being sprung upon them at the last second, you're also not gonna have a fun time here. Funny story, my first school that I taught at with the EPIK program, my co-teacher came to me like seconds before to tell me that it was the school photo day that day. I had no prior warning. Literally 5 seconds before we were gonna take our school photos, she came into my classroom and she was like, let's go take our school photos today. It's school photo time. And I was like, what? Huh? Because I had no idea and I looked a hot mess. I hadn't prepared for school photo day. I didn't know it was school photo day, so yeah, if you're the type of person who doesn't like things being sprung upon you last second, that is a thing here in Korea that happens quite often. And if you hate that and you don't want to try and adjust to that, then yeah, you're gonna have a bad time. As a final point, it is worth mentioning that I no longer teach here in Korea, as I feel like my passion or interest in teaching was really beat out of me in my second job. So I'm no longer a teacher here for that reason. You really do need to have that passion for teaching to be a teacher. Trust me, it's a hard job, and if you don't have that passion, you're gonna get beat up. Trust me, take it from me, it is the most important thing. I feel like this kind of turned into a little bit of a rant, honestly, but I hope that this video was still helpful for you in trying to help you decide whether you want to come and be a teacher in Korea. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more Korean content from me, and hopefully I will see you guys again soon. Bye guys!